Hi there! This tutorial was made to help you understand that sewing is not that difficult, especially if your intent is to learn it to finish needlepoint projects. In this video, we will give you all the instructions and tips on how to do basic sewing that you then can apply in various projects. We will list all our specific needlepoint finishing tutorials that involve sewing down in the description so that you can check them out when you feel confident with what you've learned through this video. Here are all the materials you'll need. Thread of a matching color, we're using white. Bobbins for the machine. You will also need needles for the machine, and you can use the universal size, that's good enough. You might also need pins or clips. You'll see that we don't use them in this specific video, but they really do come in handy in other needlepoint projects. Last but certainly not least, the sewing machine. You really don't need a fancy one for these kinds of projects. The most basic ones have everything you need to be able to finish your needlepoint piece, whether it's a sunglasses case, a cushion, a clutch, etc. So now let's start with threading the needle. For this, you'll need to grab the end of your thread of choice and pass it through the hole in the bobbin from the inside outwards. Pull a bit of the thread end and hold it in your hand while you wrap the thread around the bobbin a few times to secure it. Once that's done, place the bobbin on the designated place and push it to the right, since that is what will allow it to spin. Next, grab the thread and follow the instructions, securing it on the provided screw or hook. Keep in mind that every machine is different, but you'll surely find this rather easily. It's all set, now you just have to press the pedal, which will start transferring the thread to the bobbin. Hold it in your hands to avoid damaging the thread, but let it spin freely without too much pressure. Focusing on the main thread again, we are now going to take the steps to thread the needle. Start by placing the thread on the spool holder. The placement can also vary from machine to machine, but it is usually on the top. The majority of the machines have numbered instructions for you to follow, but you can also understand it by following our visual cues. Pull out a decent length of thread. Pass it through the first hook, number 1, bring it down on the bottom section, number 2, and then back up, number 3. Next, we're going to use the hand wheel on the right side of the machine. This is what makes the needle move up and down, and will also make a silver hook appear on the top section, number 4. When it does, pull the thread up and around the hook back towards you until it's secure. Then, bring the thread back down again and pass it through the last hook, number 5, and you're ready to thread the needle. Pass the thread through the needle's hole from front to back, then bring it towards yourself again and pass it in the middle of the presser foot. And that's it, the upper half of the sewing machine is all ready. Now we'll focus on the bottom half. We're going to start by opening the bottom section and removing the bobbin holder from the machine. We did this by pulling a little lever. Place the bobbin in the bobbin holder and look for a little slit in the side where you can pull the thread until it's in its designated spot. You'll know it's correctly placed when you hear a click sound. To put the bobbin holder back in its place, find the hole where the little lever will fit and align it perfectly. Next, with the help of the hand wheel, we're going to pull the bottom thread to the needle area, bringing the two threads together. Start spinning the hand wheel to move the needle up and down and see the top thread coming around the bobbin and pick up the bottom thread. Continue doing that until the bobbin thread starts to surface up the hole near the needle, and with the help of a pair of scissors, pull the rest of the thread. Close the bottom section again and it's done. Now we're going to dive into the machine settings. Sewing machines have settings for you to define what kind of stitch you want to use. For needlepoint projects, we really just use the most basic one, so it's fairly easy to set up. As you can see here, there's an adjustment system that you can spin to choose from stitch styles. In this case, we'll keep it set to the most basic and common stitch. Right above it, you'll find the length adjustment. Option 1 corresponds to little distance between each stitch, while option 4 will result in a more spaced out stitch. For needlepoint projects, we don't need a very tight stitch, so we usually leave it between 3 and 4. Then we also have the tension control dial, which we always leave at 8, since that's what's been working for our simple projects. Now we're going to start the actually sewing part. A very important mechanism for the process is using the presser foot lever. It has to be always down when you're sewing. This is what makes the needle stay in place and pressed against whatever material you're sewing on. We're going to use one of our needlepoint canvases as an example and attach the cotton bias tape by sewing along the border. Firstly, place your hand on the canvas to help secure it and guide the direction so that you can more easily achieve a straight line. Then, press the pedal slowly and adjust the pressure and speed according to how confident you're feeling with your stitch. Keep going until you reach a corner. Now, push the presser foot lever up, turn the canvas to the other side and push it down again. You just have to repeat this process until you reach the end. If your fabric misaligns during the process, pull the needle up by pressing the lever and put it back into place, then continue sewing. When you reach the end, hit the reverse lever while you press the pedal. When you do this, the machine sews in reverse, locking in stitches and securing seams so they won't come apart. Now, turn the hand wheel to make the needle go completely up, take your fabric from under it, bring the remaining thread to the thread cutter and snip it. And that's it! Don't worry about the stitches being completely perfect. Ours aren't as well. This basic sewing fully serves its purpose and anyone can do it. We hope this tutorial was helpful and check out our other tutorials to learn how to finish each needlepoint project in more detail. Happy stitching!